It's not just a one-time thing who was that. It needs to be continually reinforced, because that, at the end of the day, is what's going to help separate you and avoid the margin cutting, slashing, what do I need to do to get this deal done, 11th hour. And for you, those of you who can understand and articulate this value prop, I think it's going to go a long way towards moving the sales cycle forward and getting into the meat what we were talking about.
I was just going to add, guys, as y'all are thinking about your value prop, think of it from the terms of what an end customer will also value. I may say that I'm 6'6", but if that doesn't make a hill of beans to the girl I'm trying to get a date with, it doesn't matter. When you think of your value prop, think in terms of what the end customer will find value in what you're offering. Because if you're offering ketchup and they want mustard, there's no value, right? So think of that part of it as well as you're writing your value prop.
Right.
And to put it like that, I agree with you, Mike. You've got to change your value prop for almost each customer.
Bingo. Now you're a step or two ahead, right?
You've got to play to the customer. I mean, some customers want to talk to the most technical guys in the world. Some customers want to be strobed. They want to feel the warm and fuzzy. They want you to come out and meet them, even though there's no need for that.
You're going to have a different value prop for the CIO versus the network admin, for the VP of finance versus the VP of IT. But if we can come up with a single value prop that we can easily substitute different things for, then that's going to be easy, because you basically have now 10 of them sitting in your back pocket, and you just play the right card at the right time. So let's work on right now, and we'll get exactly where Jason's going in a second, with just your value prop. So who thinks I've got a good one? See some pencil it down. Who wants to stand up and tell me why happening?
And obviously, this is just me writing. I mean, this is well, not clean it up, but put it in a little bit different terms for a customer. We sell the best because we are the best. If you buy it from me, and this is again, like you said, I sell a lot of my personal relationship and who I am. And it doesn't work. If it doesn't do something we told you it was going to do, I'm not the guy that's going to fix it, but I will bust skulls until it works. And I think everybody in the room can attest to that. You talk to some of our engineers and even you, like what's going on with Cisco on my side right now. And people respect the hell out of that.
Okay. Another one. Who else is done? Who else has theirs ready to go?
And I think that's something everyone is going to react to because it's not technical, but it is, it's something that the IT guys are going to relate to or CIO.
I always try to go on a couple of major points. I mean, I think that brings lots to the table because of the scope of solutions that we have available. So it's not that we sell Cisco and that we sell NetApp and we sell whatever we sell, but it's the scope of all the products. By having a larger scope, we have a better vision for where those products can interoperate and how they can better service the customer. And then we go really low. I mean, being able to, and high, so we can do the really highly technical stuff, but we go all the way down to the wiring and physical security and so forth. And a lot of companies can't do that. And then, I think we each have to find a way that, even if it's not immediately obvious to us, what value that we're bringing to the customer personally as a sales rep. If all we're doing is showing slides in a presentation, then really we aren't setting ourselves apart. You have to. I really push on my customers, my commitment to them and the experience that they'll have, and whether it's the technical side and being able to talk about the difference between a fair market lease and what options are out there and any other type of lease, down to the technical guys and just whether I can do it or another sales guy brings an engineer in, being able to
start going back here.
Reel it in.
Reel it in. All right. What was on your Christmas reading list?
10 years.
You guys bought a book lately? You bought and read anything interesting?
Question.
Fiction or non-fiction?
Anything?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you read?
I just finished a book called New York by Edward Rutherford.
Cool. A good one. Yeah. Trevor, what did you read?
The last book I read was the Bill Clinton book.
That good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Is that a biography or an autobiography?
It is like the one about jumpstarting the economy.
That was good.
Yeah, good.
My
about the Secret War with submarines back in the 60s and the 80s.
Man, bit of a history buff, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. I like it.
The ESPN book was solid too. You
Yeah.
read that?
Huh?
No, it's like the story. The story of ESPN.
I didn't know that.
It's pretty awesome. It's long, but it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I read the Steve Jobs biography. That's very interesting once you get past the first 100 pages. As well as it is long, but pretty incredible to see how his mind worked. And I just got Great by Choice, Jim Collins' new book, talking about why certain companies become great regardless of the environment that they're in, and how companies with the exact same record, stock return, people in the same industry at the same time go like this, like that, right? The reason I'm reading his third book now, fourth book, is because I love the first one called Good to Great. Anybody read Good to Great? It's a model. Talks about, second one, thank you. Bill Black, right? Talks about how you go from being good to great. How you go from being that, use the early analogy, that backup quarterback to the starting quarterback, that top 1%. And on there, he gives a very simple analogy called bus riders. Who's on your bus? And his premise is, it's more important to have the right people in the right seats on the bus and not know where we're going or not how we're going to get there than it is to have these well laid out plans and directions and maps, but not have the right people on the bus. Because that means I'm going to have to stop at every intersection, let people off, let people on. People are going to be jostling around back there, switching seats, and we're never going to be able to execute on that clear direction. If we've got the right people on the right seats, we'll figure out where we're going, and we'll figure out how to get there. So that's an analogy that our team has kind of adopted on how we go to market. And I think we've been forced to now because I believe that our ability to win as a one-man show is gone. This is a very different selling environment than it was 3 to 5 years ago. And I remember when I was a rep at Cisco in 2005, I could single-handedly deliver $4, $5, $6 million maybe even, just out of my own sheer will or willingness to work, willingness to influence people. I didn't need partners. I didn't need to use my internal stakeholders. I didn't need to use PSS, SEs, project managers. I didn't need to use many. You could just show up and run hard enough and you'd be successful. I think those days are gone. I think our sales cycles are becoming longer. The amount that our IT directors, who we spend the bulk of our time, that can sign off on is shrinking dramatically. I had an IT director of a $500 million firm that are going to tell me his buy-off power is $2,500. Right? Boards are more engaged. CEOs are becoming more engaged. There are less of them that want to spend money on technology. There's a much more of a scrutiny on truly what will this do for my business. Because I can either fire these people and buy a new phone system, or I can push that phone system out for another year and maintain status quo. Right? That's the thing we're fighting against. It's the status quo. What's the cost of doing nothing? Long story short is I think that we are being forced into a collaborative sales environment where we have to work more well with each other. And we have to understand the dynamic between manufacturer and partner. And specifically how we line up to go into battle. Is it a subject matter expert from my team, from your team? Is it this holistic story? Is it management? Is it a fancy demo? Is it flying to San Jose? Is it steak dinner? How do we divide and conquer so we're not making 8-legged sales calls all day for the course of a 6-month sales cycle? Right? So in order to do that, we really have to understand who's on our bus, who we're going to war with, who's going to help us get where we need to go. So it's certainly an exercise that my team that I work on consistently, we review on a quarterly basis. I want to ask you guys, take a couple minutes here, draw a line right down the middle of your paper. On the left side, put key, and on the right side, put growth. And I want you guys to take some time.
What on the left side?
Key, K-E-Y. And I want you to tell me who your key bus riders are and who your growth bus riders are, who you want to invest in or have them invest in you, so that 12 months from now, there's a better relationship. You can move them from the growth side over to the key side. So, Jason, you have Amy in your key side, right? You guys do a lot of work together. You have a good trusting relationship. You're responsible for each other's business. Who's on that growth side, right? And this is not just Cisco. Remember, this is about you guys, about making money. I want to know EMC. I want to know internally. I want to know Joel. Is he key? You need to work on that relationship and how you better leverage Joel to help make you more money. This is from your point of view. I don't want company names. I don't want Citrix, VMware, EMC. I want, Amy King, Billy White, David Pickett, Andy Kunkel. Right, I want names. And let's just talk about who's on your bus.
Rick, this is safe to say there's not a right number of names.
There's no right or wrong answer. We're going to evaluate and talk about trends and what we see and where we can improve, but there is no right or wrong answer. And putting David in the growth section is not a wrong answer. Because he's here, we don't need to put him in key and act like everything's all hunky-dory when he hasn't met half of you face-to-face, right? So, just to be completely honest here, circle of trust. Some of you guys that have been here longer will most likely have a longer list. Some of you guys that haven't, that's okay. All right. Trevor, give me an example of, just read down your key and your growth.
All right, I've got Laura Staples, Rick Hill, Brian Gatta, Randy Pote, and Mike Ramsey.
Okay, that's on your key side.
That's on my key side.
Okay, who's in your growth?
Dave Jacob, Amy King, Dave Pickett, Greg Parks, David Berman.
Okay. Now it's time for you guys to give Trevor some encouragement and some feedback. So what does it sound like he does really well? Partners with
Cisco.
Now, I would agree with that. Do a great job understanding our structure, how we go to market, the ins and outs, right? How to get things done within Cisco. You guys have a question on getting something done? Trevor and Jason are probably the first two guys you're going to go to. Where does it sound like he could use some diversification?
End users.
Okay, potentially. How do you get to those end users? Who else?
You can go through your partners, and then you can also. Are you asking me?
I'm asking you who is noticeably missing from Trevor's list. And I'm picking on you here, Trevor.
Internal people.
Okay, internal people. Who else?
Other partners, storage, virtualization,
Infrastructure, AV, just
Who's an example of an AV partner, Tom?
Crestron.
Okay. Who else?
Cisco.
Okay. Who else are we missing potentially?
How about distribution?
Distribution, potentially, yeah. All right, let's hold that track with the knowledge that we probably need to get some EMC. You got Brian Gatta on there, right? So who else did we say we need, Trevor? Some internal stakeholders. So who internally? Let's focus there. Who internally?
Joel.
Joel.
I had two internal.
Yeah, he had two.
Okay. All right. Okay, we'll get there. Let's hear someone else's. Tom, let's hear yours. You're new.